Now, yesterday also the Corporate Affairs Commission announced a July 7, 2024 deadline for all major Nigerian fintech POS agents, including the ones you know, the popular ones, and the not so popular ones. Well, the Registrar General Hussein Magaji stated this, and it follows an agreement that they reached with the operators and complies with the Central Bank of Nigeria's regulations. The decision was confirmed at a meeting in Abuja. Mr. Magaji says, stress that the action is equally backed by the law, Section 863, subsection 1 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020, as well as CBN guidelines of agent banking. Well, let's drill more on this. I guess this shouldn't even be a big conversation, you know. POS, I mean, if you're doing business in Nigeria, you ought to be registered with the CAC. But let's drill down on this and see the realities of it. With the Chief Executive Officer of Ecosystem Limited. He's also the President, the National President of Association of Mobile Money Agents in Nigeria, AMMBAN. We have here joining us this morning, Mr. Atunda Fashasi. Mr. Fashasi, thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, my viewers.
Yeah, so I mean, this shouldn't be a big deal. Every business operating in Nigeria should be registered with the CAC. Yeah. So what's the big deal? Why is this getting this reaction?
Honestly speaking, it shouldn't be a big deal. But few things actually made it a big deal. We believe in the market segmentation. Today, you cannot expect nano businesses, you know. You can't force them to go and register. Pepper sellers, you know, cobblers, you know. We also have that category in agency banking. So they need to really have the understanding of the structure. Even going by the agency banking policy regulation that they refer to of the Central Bank of Nigeria, there are categories of segmentations. So you have super agents. A lot of them are corporate organizations. They are already registered with CAC. So you have sole agents also who are directly attached to financial institutions. Most of these guys are registered already. I think that is why I'm surprised that it's attracting so much attention, to the extent that the CAC is signing agreements with some selected service providers. Anyway, I see everything in Nigeria as a cash out. You know, it can be a business that we don't understand. So if they are looking at that figure of 1.9 million agents in Nigeria as being unregistered, it's a fundamental mistake. Because when you get to the field, you understand that over 80% of them are actually sub-agents they are just like bank branches of mega banks in Nigeria. You can't expect a GT Bank branch in Ekotedu to go and register with CAC. So when you are looking at that figure, that you are not, you know, putting calculation of revenue into it, it's going to be shocking to them that it's a fundamental blunder. But in terms of registration, I think the due people are registered. Due agents are registered already, except we want to enter Ladipo markets and start asking one-shop owners of selling pepper to be registered with CAC. That is when you can now go down to the rural agents that are only operating with a single location. And these are sub-agents of registered agent network in Nigeria. If you ask them to provide their CAC number, they can provide it. So it shouldn't be a big deal.
But Mr. Bashir, can you assure us as Nigerians, because, you know, there's been allegation of some fraudulent, people use POS to carry out some fraudulent to dupe people, you know, what these strange messages that people do get. So can you assure us that every single POS operator we see is a sub-agent? You know, I mean the nano ones, that they are sub-agent, because I do know that AMMBAN also has a task force. Yeah, very well. You know, and I'm sure that I know when you did your outing some weeks ago, you did meet some people that are not registered, and so I mean, you would agree that there are some people that are not captured in the official structure, you know, that are still operating.
I think that's an angle we should look at it. When we read about the reason why CAC is more interested is about fraud prevention, and I look at it that you can't do CAC registration to prevent fraud. for God's sake. So, and it's the responsibility of the Inspector General of Police and DSS and all other sectors, to actually prevent fraud, not CAC. So it's a misplaced of priority. So we are having this conversation with IG already, and Director of SS will be having a meeting next week on how to curb human-related frauds among the POS agents. It's not about CAC registration. And a lot of industry stakeholders are doing a lot in fraud prevention at agent location. Recently, Nigerian Tobacco Settlement Scheme, NIPS, actually activated a fraud, reporting channel in all POS channels. So a lot of us are working around how to curb fraud. It is not for CAC to say until they.
So you're saying there's really no need, or perhaps the motivation behind this CAC announcement is not.
It's not genuine. They need to come out and tell us.
But are you having conversations? I mean, they did say that they signed MOU with some operators.
A lot of people don't really understand this industry we are. They had meeting with fintech companies. The Hope, the Money Point, which are established institutions. They already registered with CAC. They don't have issues. So they excluded, they have forgotten that there is an entrepreneurial segment in our business. Who are those POS agents that you see outside there? The only umbrella body for them is the Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, AMMBAN. We are the only one that can speak for them, not service providers.
And you are the national president, so we can hold you accountable to whatever.
When CAC
if anybody gets duped through POS operators, Mr. Fashazi, I will hold you.
Of course, we have whistleblowing channel now. We have also issued out verifiable identity card, because security actually starts from, identity verification. Today, approach anybody handling POS, ask for their, AMMBAN identity card. You will be able to verify it and report any fraud. So that is the way it's operating. Yeah. Okay,
and then yesterday we also, it's the circular from the CBN on the cybersecurity levy actually came out 2 days ago, but it was late.
Yeah.
So yesterday it was news everywhere and all of that. And I think we have some slide. Yeah. You're already ready to make money from this, Mr. Fasha. This is not fair at all.
Okay.
This is not fair for you to already, you have already given us what it will cost us.
Yeah.
When we look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well, very well.
This was too fast, because if it was a reduction, I am almost sure that by now we would not have seen this out. But because it's where you guys will add more money, we now see that you already have a list.
Actually, that list is not from us. That list is actually for public enlightenment. That
from who?
No, from our own understanding of things. It's not the charges. We are not referring to the charges of POS agents. We are referring to those charges that are currently being charged by the federal government. You have stamp duty. Stamp duty, 50 naira, now being charged, from 10,000 and above transaction. So these are the statutory charges that are ongoing.
Okay, so you're saying that, I mean, this, the cybersecurity levy is supposed to start from the 20th, because it's 2 weeks from the 6th. So if somebody wants to, already, I think how much, I know about 20,000 naira. If you want to withdraw 20,000, you pay about 500 or 400 naira. Then that means you will now add like 5 naira.
This is additional cost for the cybersecurity based on the circular of Central Bank. But if we are to go by the Cybersecurity Act itself, it's stated that the charges of 0.5% should be on the charges, you understand, on the charges of electronic transfers. The meaning of that is, if electronic transfer is costing 20 naira for you to move money, so 0.5% of 20 naira, that is what that policy states. But unfortunately, the CBN memo is saying another thing. The CBN memo is actually factoring 0.5% of the value of transaction. That will be huge, and that will be killing. So the analysis we have here is based on the, CBN. There is a need for us to also reach out to the CBN and ask questions. We can go and look at that Cybersecurity Act, look at what it states. It's about the charges on electronic. You are levying the charges. You are not levying the value of transaction. They need to go back and look at it. We are responding because the memo is actually coming from Central Bank of Nigeria. If it's from other agency, we won't be concerned.
Yeah, because I mean, even as a media station, I mean, the report that was put together yesterday, we also did ask some of those questions. The legality of it, who is supposed to implement it, what exactly does the Act say about who should implement it, and from the Act you also see that it's about 5 businesses, not every transaction that is supposed to be involved. So, but I believe it's an ongoing conversation which we'll get clarity on.
Thank you.
Subsequently.
I think our civil society need to actually wake up now, because most of these policies, most of these bills, nobody was aware. We need to go back to the Senate and House. What are the implications of all these acts before they come to the limelight? We shouldn't be shouting now if we have done the right thing at the policy level. Because if you look at it today, the so-called cybersecurity, there's a provision for it under NASENI, Nigerian Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure. You know, there is a provision for anything infrastructure in NASENI, which is 0.25% of the revenue from the companies. The banks are paying it. They are paying 0.25% of the profit before tax. You know, and it is about infrastructure. Why should we also allow another levy to pass through our Senate and our House of Rep? But everything that is being charged today is coming back to the common man on the streets. Because we are businesses, we will transfer that cost. There is no doubt about it. That was why it was actually easier for service providers, money point to pay, to enter an agreement and sign off, because they are not going to bear that cost. They are going to transfer it back to the common man on the street. I think it's a challenge to the civil society to wake up and start asking questions. What have we done with their stamp duty charges? That is even more. Do we even have account for it? Can they even account for it? Is enough to settle all our challenges in Nigeria? All
right, Mr. Fashion, I'm supposed to let you go now, but just before you go, briefly now, we don't see money at our ATMs anymore. The money now seems to be with POS. And the story going around is that banks sell cash to POS. How do you react to that?
Okay, it's actually, let's give a dog a bad name in order to hang it. Anybody with that fact of that such transaction should come out. The reality is we have over 3.8 trillion cash in circulation. It's not that there was no cash in circulation, but people are not bringing their money back to the bank. They are not depositing. Go and look at the bank books now. They are not receiving. So cash are now exchanging hands at agent location. So my mama and my baba, they prefer to come to agent location to come and deposit cash. That is why you have availability of cash at agent location, not at the bank, because they are running away from all these charges. Imagine if you deposit above 500,000 naira as an individual. The policy of CBN is insisting that they must charge you processing fee of 2%. If you are a corporate organization, deposit 3 million, you'll be charged 3%. It was just yesterday night, CBN quickly postponed the implementation till November again. But the reality is that we need to reconsider all these exclusive policies that are pushing people out of the banking system. There is a need for us to sit down and think about it before it's too late. You can see the figures. They are crashing every day. You'll be shocked when a final report on financial inclusion is out. You'll be shocked that we may go back to the olden days of 30%.
Wow, that would be sad. I think we're at 70% now. That's for the rural, for the urban.
For the general, we have 76% as at today. So, no, not even as at today, as at the last final report.
As at the last final report, yes.
That was before the introduction of most of these new policy of the CBN of about linking your BVN and NIN to the account. A lot of accounts, over 2 million accounts have been locked out because of lack of BVN and NIN, because they are not available. NIMSI has shut down most of the agent locations. You know, you hardly, because they are in the process of revalidation. Up till today, they have been none of their app have actually worked at agent locations. So before now, ask questions. What has been the figure of NIN enrollment between January and today? You will be shocked that we are back to the olden days. There is a need for us to expand the access to most of these critical financial services before we come up with all these regulations. Access first.
All right, Mr. Fashasi. We obviously have a whole lot to say. National President, Association of Mobile Money Agents in Nigeria, in short, POS.
POS operators.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Turner.
All right.